In this video, I answer a question that I often get asked, and that is, how do I overcome my fears? How do I overcome those insecurities that are crippling me from taking action, from doing the things that I want, from putting myself out there? And those fears may be fear of rejection, fear of being embarrassed, fear of failure, fear of losing, fear of not being good enough, all those type of fears that I believe we've all experienced. I certainly did. And in fact, this was one of the things that really affected me the most many years ago, when I was afraid of so many things, insecure in so many ways. And I was struggling to make decisions. I had this idea that I could just let go of my fears. Then I wouldn't feel the fear when it came to making the decisions or taking the action, and then it'd be easy. And the second idea that I had, which was, it's kind of funny when I think about it back then, but it was that if I prepare enough, or if I'm ready enough, or if I wait for the right time, then the fear will subside and it'll be easier and it'll be great. Of course, those two strategies didn't really work, but it was more like a defensive mechanism. Because also when you fight the fear, when you try to get rid of it, when you try to fight it, when you resist it, it persists, it magnifies, it becomes stronger, it becomes more present, and you focus more on it. Therefore, it grows more on you. And therefore, you're trying to cope and trying to distract yourself, get more knowledge, study more, read another book, or just do it next time, or procrastinate, or just drop it altogether. But that is not the way. But luckily, going through those experiences, I've discovered something that really helped me in my life. And it came from so many experiences, because sometimes, let's face it, you have time to make a decisions, right? If you do it today or next month or whatever, it doesn't really matter too much. But sometimes the opportunity or the decision that you have to make is limited. It's right now. Maybe you see somebody that you want to ask out and you feel attracted to them, and you're like, if I don't do it now, I might never see them again, right? If this opportunity happens for a job that is opening right now and I procrastinate and I feel I'm not ready and I'm afraid of being rejected, I might just lose it. So sometimes we have those very narrow, limited opportunities, and when fear kicks in those moments and we freeze, we might just lose it. And in those type of decisions, I remember something I learned, a lesson I learned so powerful. And that was a couple of years ago when I just became an NLP trainer, and a couple of months after that, I was in a NLP training, and I was being a coaching assistant, and I was just helping the main trainer and the team. And the trainer got sick. Out of the blue, he got the flu, and the throat he couldn't talk anymore. And so everybody was like, okay, what do we do? And that's right in the middle of the training, like day 2, like toward the end of day 2, right? So we need somebody to step in, right? And so they asked me, do you want to step in tomorrow morning, do the whole session in the morning, maybe do this session as well later on, and so on. Like, we need somebody. And so this is this golden opportunity. But for me back then, it wasn't golden. It was like, oh my God, I'm not ready. I'm not prepared. What are you talking about? I didn't come for this. Like, wow. It was so much pressure on me. But at the same time, a part of me could realize that, oh my God, this is an opportunity. But at the same time, all my fears came kicking in and rushing. Eventually, I said, yes, okay, I'm going to do it. And I stepped up, and I was, really scared. Like, I had no idea. It was uncomfortable, it was unfamiliar, I wasn't prepared, but I just did it. But in doing it, something happened. And this is where the lesson came in after that experience. I embraced the fear in that moment. I didn't let all those fears, I wasn't trying to let them go, I wasn't trying to do anything about them, I decided to go for it. And the fear was there. And then I went and I started to do my training, and I started to talk about it, and I do the presentation and everything went really well. And the fear just dissolved. Wasn't even aware of the fear anymore. But looking back, I understood that one of the most powerful things we can do in those situations is to embrace our fears. And in the words of Ralph Waldo Emerson that I really love, is do the thing you're afraid to do, and you'll have the power. And too often we're waiting, preparing, planning for the power, for the fear to disappear, to get rid of it. And then we want to do it. But if you do the thing you're afraid to do, you will have the power, meaning you will realize that through the experience of it, you become immune to the fear. And this happened in so many times in my life, and it happened so many times in your life, because we all faced and overcome so many of our fears, and we just forget about it. Because today we're not afraid of certain things. It's like when you get a new job, and you're afraid the first 3 days, you go, there's new people, there's a new office, there's so many new things that could go wrong. And like 6 months later, you're so comfortable in your job, you forgot about that fear and those insecurities that were there. Because you're too focused on your new insecurities and fear. And that's the thing. Fear is a part of the game. It never disappears. Every new things we do, every time we stretch out of the known or the familiar or the routine or the comfort zone, it's bound to be a bit uncomfortable. Because we try to predict it, because we have those limiting beliefs, we have all those things that are conditioning us a little bit and holding us back. But if we embrace the fear, instead of trying to repress it or let it go or, all this kind of thing, tap it out, whatever, we can use those tools to lessen the fear. But notice when you are resisting it and when you are actually making it worse, instead of simply allowing it, feeling it, but not becoming a slave to it and the thought that comes with the fear. And then just doing the thing that you're afraid to do and see what happens. And of course, like you may say, okay, well, if I'm afraid to jump from a cliff, should I just jump? That's a stupid thing to do. So you gotta know, is this thing worthy of being done? Is this good for my advancement, for my progress, for my growth, from the benefits of other people? Is there something to gain? Is there a way to make my life better? Is there a way to contribute to this action? And often if the answer is yes to this question, then it's worth doing. What was the second example? I remember another time when I was afraid of making videos like that. A couple of years ago when I started posting videos on Facebook, I was so scared, and I was in this thing that I told you, that pattern of waiting, preparing, making videos, looking at them, and I didn't like my voice, I didn't like the topic, I didn't like the way I spoke, I didn't like my accent, I didn't like this and that, and so I would just prepare, and I was like, I'm just gonna train, and when the time is right, when I feel it's good, when I feel it's perfect and done, then I'll post it. And you can imagine that weeks went by, and actually it was well over 2 months if I remember well, and nothing happened. I still didn't post a video, and I was still training, and I was still focusing on all those things, but really I was afraid of being judged, of being embarrassed, nobody watching, people commenting, people hating. That's what I was afraid of. But I was resisting the fear, and I was trying to make it go away through preparing, through doing all those kind of things, waiting for the right time, waiting for it to be perfect, instead of just doing it. And when I did it, not only I felt a sense of progress and I felt proud, I get this high of doing something out of my comfort zone, but I conquered the fear as well. And then when I started making more videos, eventually the fear just disappeared. And today when I post videos, I don't think about that fear anymore. It's just something I do. So we can train ourselves to break through those fears. And I hope those lessons are applicable in your own life, guys. Embrace the fear. Feel it, but don't get lost in it. Don't get lost in the thoughts of I can't and this and that. Just become aware of it. Know that it's part of the journey, and go and do the thing. Take that uncomfortable action. Even if it's a small step, because that is one of the greatest ways to break through that fear and to really crack the chain that are holding you back when fear or insecurities are actually. And it's really one of the greatest ways to free yourself from fear and insecurities. Because oftentimes you realize that there's absolutely nothing to be afraid of. But this realization comes through the experience of it. So let me know what you think in a comment, guys. As always, please like, share, subscribe. I'll see you next time. Be well.